radio was always on. In the ute, it sat wedged between the seats, volume turned low, but constant. In the shed, it hung from a nail near the workbench, trailing a frayed cord. In the kitchen, it lived on the windowsill above the sink, facing out towards the paddocks. He did not listen to it, not closely, but it was there. The property had been louder once. Cattle moving through the yards, dogs barking, gates clanging shut, the diesel engine of the tractor cutting across the morning. There had been enough noise then that the radio barely registered. But the stock had been sold. The work had slowed. Now the land was quiet in a way it had not been for years. The sheds stood empty. The yards were still. The dogs were gone. What remained was space, sky, and the low hum of wind through the fence wire. He kept the radio on anyway. Each morning, he clipped it to his belt before leaving the house. A small black unit with a retractable antenna and a cracked speaker grill. It played news, weather, call-in shows, sometimes static. He never changed the station. He worked with it running, tightening belts, clearing brush, mending what needed mending. The sound followed him across the property like a tether. One afternoon, he drove out to repair a section of fence along the western boundary. The wire had sagged where a post had rotted through. He parked the ute in a shade of a coolabah and walked the rest of the way on foot, carrying the tools and the replacement post over his shoulder. The radio was clipped to his belt as always. He set the tools down and began digging. The ground was hard, baked through from weeks without rain. The work was slow, methodical. Sweat darkened the back of his shirt. The radio murmured beside him. Halfway through the dig, the sound cut out. He paused, looked down. The small red light on the radio had gone dark. He pressed the power button. Nothing. The battery was dead. He stood there for a moment, the post hole digger still in his hands. The silence around him was complete. No wind, no birds, just a flat, open stillness of the land. He looked back toward the ute. It was a 10-minute walk. He could get a fresh battery from the glove box, swap it out, have the radio running again before he finished the fence. He did not move. Instead, he turned back to the hole and kept digging. The silence stayed. It pressed in at first, unfamiliar, heavy. But he did not stop working. He dug until the hole was deep enough, then set the post and packed the soil around it. He strung the new wire and tightened it against the old one. The radio stayed clipped to his belt, silent. When the repair was finished, he gathered the tools and slung them over his shoulder. He started back towards the ute, boots crunching over the dry grass. The radio swung lightly against his hip with each step. He did not reach for it. By the time he reached the ute, the sun had dropped low behind the ridge. The sky had gone soft with dust and fading light. He tossed the tools into the tray and stood for a moment, one hand on the door. The silence was still there. He climbed into the cab, started the engine, drove home. The radio stayed on his belt, dark and quiet, all the way back.